How's it going, my friend? Chevy AS here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be doing a video that is well on overdue for this channel. This is going to be my updated weather radio collection video. The last time I did this was in January 2024, and since then I haven't really collected much for radios. However, the ones I have are very much worthy of being talked about. So, you guys already know how collection videos work. I'm gonna start over here. We're gonna go all the way around, and then we'll touch up on the out-of-service radios last. I don't know if I'm really also gonna do like detailed explanations, just because I have so many weather radios, but I'll get into them a little bit. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started. So, right over here, beginning the bureau on the right, is a rare radio here. This is the Emerson CKW 2000. It is currently powered off. This is a really good radio, or a decent radio I should say. This is a statement error radio. It is the only radio I know of that has a yellow statement light. You can't really see it there, but it's a statement error radio. This is pretty much the AlertWorks EAR10 and a WR300 if it had a baby. It looks very similar to an EAR10, even though it came before that radio. And the menu functionality is identical, almost identical to a WR300. This is what the top looks like here. A couple buttons and all that. It's got AM, FM. It's a pretty good radio. It is rare, so they are very hard to come by, but I would actually recommend this radio. It's not that bad. It has a really cool siren too. You guys have seen this in a couple videos. Got this sometime in early 2023, I want to say, so, yeah. And for the time being, I just usually keep it off unless, like, a major event is coming up, just because I don't have the space to plug this one in, but, it's whatever. I really like this radio, so, yeah. It just sits right here by my bed. So, that's it for that one. That's number one. Next up is one of my many holy grails, which how lucky am I to say that, one of many holy grails, the First Alert WX268.
12:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Here are the noon reports from...
God, it's still so weird here in WNG575 wireless. Anyway, First Alert WX268. This radio is very hard to come by. I got this, I want to say around March or April 2024, just last year.
And falling.
This radio, when I got it, actually, the decoder was completely dead, so I sent this off to Bearcat33 for him to patch it up, because he knows how to actually fix that. So, special thanks to him for fixing this up for me so that it now activates. This radio is very similar to its non-FM counterpart, the First Alert WX167. However, the reason that this radio is so sought after is because this radio has the ability to actually activate for AM and FM alerts. There are only, I want to say, 2 other radios I know of that can do that, and that would be the Uniden BC370 and the ASI Alert Sentinel thing, I believe. I don't know if any other radio activates on AM, FM, but that's the main reason this radio is so wanted, so sought after, and it is very hard to come by, so anytime it is listed, it is gone like that in an instant. This WX268 is actually in really good condition, aside from the bottom shell. The bottom shell, for some reason, when I got this, was completely yellowed, so this thing is still very fragile, but the top part is actually in very good condition, and I do my best to keep it that way, because these plastic shells are very prone to breaking if yellowed. So that's that. I keep this radio right by my bed. I have it monitoring WGIR FM, which monitors Hillsborough, Merrimack, and Rockingham counties in New Hampshire. And yeah, it's a very nice radio, actually. I'm also very lucky that this radio is still in like good working condition and order. So yeah, that's this guy. Anyways, hanging up on the wall here, we have my Radio Shack 12-991 white logo.
And keying it. Today, patchy dense fog this morning. Mostly...
Got this radio sometime also in early 2020, actually no, late 2022 I want to say, or very, very early 2023. This is a very good radio. We all know 991s. They have basically the same firmware as the Radio Shack 12-993. However, this is just a desktop version. I call it the pill radio because the shape of it literally looks like a pill. Simple menu functionality. Good siren to it. I'll do a quick siren test. Same siren as the 993 and 996. So, yeah, it's a pretty good radio. Go ahead and get yourself one if you can. They are actually very high quality.
Mostly.
Pretty good DXers too. Yeah, not really much else to say. It's just a 991, you know. For those who also collect radios, you all know what a 991 is.
Lows in the upper 60s.
But I absolutely love this radio. It is a very good quality radio. These things will last a long time.
Lows in the upper 60s.
So that's that guy there. Next up, one of my favorites, Radio Shack 12-996.
Lows in the mid-60s. Here is the...
This is absolutely one of the highest quality radios you could ever purchase. I have never had an issue with this thing. This thing has never failed to activate. It always gets crystal clear reception. I can't gloat about this radio enough. This is one of the first radios I got. I got this in April 2016, so just over 9 years now, and I'm quickly approaching 10 years with this radio. Holy shit, I'm old. It is nice and small and compact, tricolor LED for warning, watch, and advisory. This radio is also the only, or one of the only touchscreen radios on the market, or mainly touchscreen. There are no buttons on this radio. Everything works via a touchscreen. And it is absolutely amazing to the feel, and it just works flawlessly with this build. I cannot gloat about this radio enough. They are expensive, because Radio Shack obviously is out of business. They don't make these. This is an expensive radio when it comes around on eBay. But honestly, I can justify it. I just can't gloat about the quality of this radio enough. It has some of the best speaker quality in any weather radio I've ever owned, and the reliability is just 1,000,000%. So definitely get yourself a 996 if you are at all able to. So that's that guy. Next up on the wall, which is also powered off, I have a First Alert WX150. This is just a regular pitched side mount antenna version. First time I got this radio was back in August of 2023. However, the first one I got was completely bricked out of the box. I powered it up, and all it would do is just show the date. The screen wouldn't even turn off, like the backlight screen. It would not turn off, and none of the buttons worked, no matter what I did. No matter what I did, it just did not work. The radio was completely bricked. So I got my money back, and I bought this one. And I got this maybe two months after that. Actually, no, that's a lie. Let me think. No, shortly after. So yeah, August 2023 I had this radio. I don't really keep it powered on. I only really turn it on during like big events similar to this guy here. But I like this radio. It's pretty cool. It's kind of neat to see like the history of First Alert and the build of radios they have, because they run through two separate like manufacturers, I think, SEMA and Spectra. And the differences are just insane. So, like, for instance, the 150 and the 268 are both SEMA manufactured, and I think that guy up there is Spectra. So it's kind of interesting to see the history that First Alert has taken with their weather radios. And this one just looks like a fucking giant brick with a speaker on the top. But it's a pretty cool radio. You can find these for cheap online. I would get it if you are just starting out as a collector. I think they're really good radios. So that's where that sits. Alright, next up we have another one of my holy grails, which I have had, technically, for over 10 years now. Or will be coming up on 10 years in December. Midland WR301.
Connecticut mostly sunny 79. Providence, Rhode Island sunny 76.
I got this radio on Christmas morning of 2015. I was very surprised to open this under the tree that morning, but you know what, there you go. I got lucky, I guess. So this is not actually the original 301. This is the body of a 300, which I put my original 301 shell over to turn it into a 301. The first 301 that I had, unfortunately, the tuner completely died, and I was very sad about that. So I kept this radio out of service for a long time. However, in November of 2022, I purchased a version 5 WR300 on eBay. Even though it's not a deluxe, this is still a version 5 that won't die. Serial number like 11 something, I think. This radio still, the tuner should not die. Put the shell of my 301 over that, and my 301 has been back in service ever since.
Mile or less at times this morning. Highs in the lower 80s.
I am very grateful to own a 301. The main difference just between a 300 and a 301, the only difference I should say, is just the shell is mossy oak instead of silver, like this guy here. Yeah, I absolutely love this radio. I've been through hell and back with this guy. Coming up on, like I said, almost 10 years now, come Christmas morning this year, of owning this radio. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than 301. These are very hard to come by. Midland only produced these for a limited time back in like 2012, 2013, maybe 2014, I don't know. And yeah, this was part of their whole mossy oak craze. I still would actually really like to get my hands on an HH51, but I do not like the HH50s at all, so whatever. Oh yeah, this radio just sits by my bed. It's very reliable. I absolutely love this thing. I try to treat this as best as I can because I do not want to break this, and I think 300s can also be semi-fragile. But there you guys go. WR301. You guys have seen this. You guys have seen this guy in a shitload of videos. So yeah, cool. So that's that guy. Next up on the wall, Eton Zone Guard.
Hazy this afternoon. Highs in the lower 80s. Thunderstorm.
This is not my first zone guard. The first zone guard I purchased was back in like 2018, 2019, I want to say. The speaker on that completely died on me, and I lost all button functionality to everything except for the menu button. So not even the power button would work, or the alert button. So the radio at that point pretty much became a paperweight. So I bought a new zone guard, and I got this sometime in 2021, 2022, I want to say. And it's been working great ever since. Well, for the most part, I should say. It's just a zone guard. We all know what the zone guard looks like. This is not a new gen zone guard with the telescopic antenna and the green watch light and green watch beacon and the yellow advisory beacon. That's just disgusting. This is the old gen version with the non-telescopic antenna and the orange watch and green advisory, like how it should be. That's how it should be with zone guards. But anyway, yeah, it's like I said, it's literally just a zone guard. It's a very simple radio. It's very loud. It will get the job done. I'd recommend a zone guard if you are collecting. Do not get a zone guard plus though, because just don't, please. Anyway, moving on, we have a radio I got in January 2024 and destroyed my wall in the process. You guys have seen this before. This is the Recon R500. So as you guys I'm sure just saw there with those button pushes, the main gimmick with this small little guy here is the fact that, hang on 1 second. There we go. Sorry about that. Anyways, but yeah, the main functionality gimmick of this radio is that not only is it very tiny, compact, and portable, this radio has the very unique capability of multi-channel monitoring, as you can see. I am currently monitoring channel 6, 7, 3, and 4. This functionality is absolutely amazing. I'm surprised that no other company has decided to implement this functionality into their same radios, but I digress. This radio, the first alert I ever recorded on this radio was the big time flash flood warning for coastal New Hampshire and Maine for coastal flooding. So this radio has a very unique first alert it received when it got to me. I still can't believe that happened. Flash flood warning for historic coastal flooding. It's crazy. I never thought I would record that. But this thing is awesome. I'll be taking this to college with me, as I will this thing when I get to that in a sec. I absolutely love this guy. It's very easy. It's similar. It has similar functionality to the Recoms, but there are extra features to the other Recoms. For instance, key lock and key tone you can set. Of course, there's the option to do multi-channel monitoring, and you can also control not only the siren volume, but the voice volume if you have this radio set to voice, and you can choose the volume that the radio turns on to when an alert comes in. Same siren though as all the modern recoms.
Mostly confined to the...
And this radio also has, I don't know about AM, but I know this radio has FM. So this is, I absolutely love this thing so far. It's, like I said, it is tiny as shit. Like, I could literally fit that, I could literally palm this radio if I unplugged it and put the antenna down. It's that tiny. So yeah, there you go. That is the R500. I would recommend this radio. I believe they're still being sold on Amazon, but they are very, very pricey. But rightfully so for all the features. So, yeah, that's that guy. Next up, right down here, we have a Midland WR400 version 1.
From the Worcester area. In Worcester, it was sunny. The temperature was 7.
I don't know why that sounds so bad right now. This is a great radio. I got this. This is a version 1, meaning this is the first like model of 400s that came out. This has the mini USB power plug to it, hence why it's connected to the wall via USB. I got this right around when this radio came out, I believe back in 2017, maybe 2018, I forget. This radio is essentially if the 300 and a 120 had a baby, because it looks very similar to a 300, and the menu functionality is more similar to a 120. But it is a very high quality built radio. I absolutely love this thing.
Mostly...
Go out and get yourself one. I believe Midland is still selling this. Try to get the later models if you can, as they have the new event codes on them, like snow squall warning and extreme wind warning, storm surge, watching warning, blah 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 blah. This one does not. The version ones do not. They were, I think these were planned to have the new event codes on their first model, but they just didn't. So, whatever. I get to just look at unrecognized warning every time like a snow squall warning comes in, but that's, like I said, it doesn't make a difference to me. So, yeah, very high quality radio. I would absolutely recommend this as like people's first radios to collect. It's just one of those radios, and it will last you a long time. Very good. And it also has a little button where you can brighten and dim the screen, which is pretty cool too. But I keep it dim most of the time because it shows up better on camera, as you can see. Better on this camera, at least. So there you go.
3.
I still don't know why that sounds so bad. This covers WXL93 because I can't really reach WNG575 from this spot for whatever reason, but whatever. Alright, next up above it is a radio that I'm still surprised was actually legit and I got. This is the iLive IMM183.
Forecast for this period. Water temperature 74 degrees.
I'll move this guy for a sec. The main gimmick with this radio came out in like 2007 or 8, I believe, and I purchased this off the Barnes & Noble website for $120 as a graduation present to myself last June in 2024. I'm very surprised that the Barnes & Noble website is still selling this, because they stopped making this radio a very long time ago, but the main gimmick with this radio was that it can hold 2 iPods. However, of course, we're talking like first gen iPods and like iPhone 5s here. This isn't going to work with anything modern, so I guess you could call this vintage, even though it's like not, but whatever. This radio is absolutely massive. This is the biggest radio I own. The volume dials here and the channel tuning dials are so satisfying to twist to function the radio. Like if you go to the menu here, if we hit the menu, the way that you scroll through it is this. And that just gets very, very satisfying. So that's one of the main reasons I wanted this radio. The other reason is that the siren is also pretty unique, and the speaker quality though is on par with the 996.
47%. The wind was variable at 6 miles.
The bass speakers in this are some of the best. Like I said, that is some of the best speaker quality I've ever seen in a radio. On par with this guy and on par with that guy over there, which we'll get to eventually. So if you have $120 to spare, I think the Barnes & Noble website is still selling these, so if you're looking to splurge, definitely consider this radio. It's considered rare because it's not being made anymore, but it's being sold on a retail site, so I don't really know how rare that technically is, but whatever, I don't make the rules. So that's this guy here. Next up as you all just saw, I literally just got this radio today, and I just uploaded the unboxing video. We have, finally, a version 1 Midland WR300. This radio, like I said, just got today. This is the first of what was to come for the WR300s and 301s. Statement era, warning watch statement. Same digital weather hazard alert monitor. AM, FM. No public alert logo. However, really, there is absolutely no functionality difference between a version 1 300 and a version 5 300/301. Like, the menus are literally identical. They all function and it all functions and sounds the same. I think the only difference between this radio though is, however, when an alert comes in, there is no expiration time at the bottom here. The radio just scrolls the message and that is left blank. Whereas on all later versions of the 300, it shows I guess no message. So yeah, a bad example, but there is an expiration time. Like, it says ends. The radio will tell you what time the alert will end. And it will also say, like, expired in the alert history on all later versions. However, the version 1 just does not. That is pretty much the only difference between the V1s and all modern 300s. But yeah, this radio is, I'm very excited now to own this. I can't wait for it to be in action. I'm going to take this back up to college with me. And yeah. Although it's weird, I'm pretty much completely out of space for plugs on everything, and I want this radio plugged in, so I don't know what I'm going to have to sacrifice when I come back from college next year, or for Christmas break, but whatever. Oh, and I might as well also do a siren test on this guy, because I can, and I forgot to. That alarm one is obnoxious, but the siren sounds similar to those of the Zone Guard, or of the Eton radios. Anyways, back to this guy. Yeah, I'm very excited to have this. This radio is, I gotta clean it. I tried cleaning it earlier. I just don't know if any of this is coming off. I think this is literally just all lifetime wear and all scuff marks here. But aside from that, if you don't, they're kind of hard to notice unless you look closely. So from a distance, this still looks like a very good conditioned WR300. I can't tell if this is just how 300 sound, but the speaker may be going on this. I'm not too sure though. If any of you can tell through the video, please let me know if the speaker is going so I can fix it. It's a very easy fix, I hear, but I don't know a thing or two about taking these apart. But yeah, version 1 300. I'm very excited to have one of these. I can't wait to record some alerts off this, and I'm just very happy it's part of my collection now. This was the, like I said, this first of the 300s to come out when Midland was making weather radios, and this paved the way for the version 4s and 5s to come. And the 8s, I guess. I forgot the version 8 exists. But I'll never own a version 8. Fuck the version 8. I don't care what anyone says. Fuck the version 8 300. Yeah, go figure. It's got bad reception in that spot, but whatever. I'm not expecting alerts today. So, that is that. Alright, moving on up to the tall bureau here. Actually, I didn't miss anything, right? No, I did not miss anything. Cool. Alright. So dusty up here. This gets dusty so easily. I clean literally every couple days in this room, and just nothing but fucking dust, dust, dust. Good God. So please pardon that. Anyways, we have another one of my favorites here. This is the Radio Shack 12-519. This is a first header model.
575, broadcasting on a frequency of 162.5.
Unfortunately, as you can hear, and as what has been the case for several months, I believe the tuner on this radio is starting to go. It does not sound as good as it used to. However, this radio, it's still activating just fine, so as long as it's still activating, I'm going to keep it in service, because I absolutely love this thing. Like I said, this is a first header model, meaning that this radio will go off on the first header. I got this at the end of 2020. I got this at the end of 2022, I want to say? Yes, 2022. Go ahead and Do a siren test of some sort. This radio was released sometime in like 2006, 2007, I think. Maybe 2008 or 9, I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. Very nice radio, though. It has one of the unique functionalities of this radio, if I go ahead and move these real fast, is that this radio has the ability to tune into Skywarn channels.
Beverly Sunny and 77.
Via the Skywarn button right here. And you work it through this keypad.
Portland was sunny. The temperature was...
No other radio that I know of, no other mainline weather radio, I should say at least, that I know of has the ability to tune into Skywarn channels. So that's what this radio has going for it. It also has two stereo. It looks physically just like a stereo. And while there is a lot of buttons, they're not very hard at all. You mainly only need 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 and 6. And those are just basic buttons. You don't really need to do, you know, it looks intimidating, but it's not. This radio is very easy to operate.
To be isolated and...
So yeah, I absolutely love this thing. Like I said, I'm going to keep it in service so long as it's still alive and still activating. So yeah, go ahead and get a 519 if you can. I don't know how hard they are to find now. Alright, we got 3 radios sitting on top of there. This first one on the right here is the Radio Shack 12-522, which has become semi-rare over the years.
South to State Route 2, including Manchester.
Battery's about to die on that. I'll fix it later. I'll replace it later. This is a 2008 model, so it is probably prone to dying, and the tuner may be dying. However, it actually sounds really good for what it is right now. This radio is the first of Radio Shack's mainline handhelds. This is the predecessor to this guy here. However, it does not really hold up well today. I can't really say I'd recommend this radio unless you're able to find yourself a 2011 model where the tuner will not die, because these tuners die easily, and this radio eats through battery power like it is fucking candy. Like, batteries are literally crack cocaine to this radio, and it falls into the realm of addiction. Like, that's how much, that's how badly it eats through batteries. Like, how you get hardly any... I don't even think you could get a full day of this radio being turned on without the batteries dying. So, it's kind of bad there. I can't really say I'd recommend it, but I actually like the 522s, as long as they're in good working order. They're pretty nice. They're just nice to look at, and it's a neat little piece of Radio Shack history to have. So yeah, I got this is actually, I think, my third 522. I tried getting 2 last year into 2023, all to no avail, where the tuners just kept dying and stuff, until I eventually bought this guy. And this one has been working since, and hopefully it stays that way, even though it's a 2008 model and the tuner may die. But whatever. Just like this, as long as it still works, I'm going to keep it in service. So there you go. Like I said, can't really say I'd recommend a 522 if you're a first-time collector, but it's whatever. Kind of rare though too, so it's got that going for it. Anyways, next up is my absolute favorite handheld, and maybe one of, if not my favorite radio in my collection. This radio is very sought after for a good reason. It is very high quality. The Radio Shack 12-993.
Afternoon. Waves less than 1 foot. Mostly sunny. High.
I have owned a 12-993 for 10 years now. The first 993 I got was sometime in early to mid 2015. It was either the 3rd or the 4th radio I ever bought. This radio is pretty much just the handheld version of the 991 over there. The firmware is exactly the same. However, it just is different functionally, of course, because it's handheld. Has a white backlight instead, and it has a backlight brightener up here. This is not my first 993, however. The first 993 that I had, I took that thing fucking everywhere with me when alerts were even remotely possible. I took that thing everywhere. Over the years, the back just got very worn out, very, very bad condition. And then one fateful day in, I want to say 2020 or 2021, the screen to this radio, or to that radio I should say, started tweaking the fuck out. I have no idea what happened to it, but it got to a point where all the diodes on the screen were all spread out willy-nilly, and the screen was completely unreadable. I am the first probably person, I think I'm the first person to have documented that issue with 993s, and after that people started getting the same thing. I still don't know what causes it, but I'm trying to keep this thing in the best care I possibly can, because it is very high quality, very sought after, very hard to come by on eBay, and I just really want to keep my 993 in good shape. And this one is in good shape right now, and hopefully it stays that way. It is very high quality. The reception is also godlike on this thing. Like I said, it is, I think, my favorite it is definitely my favorite handheld, and it is up there for one of my favorite radios of all time. If you are able to get your hands on a 993, go ahead and do it. You will not be disappointed in the slightest. I can guarantee you that. I could glaze this radio all day. So there's that guy. Like I said, I've owned one of these technically for 10 years now. I know what I'm talking about, trust me. Next up is a radio that I got in February 2023, and I actually really like this radio compared to what everyone else says. This is the Cobra CWR200.
Providence, Rhode Island, sunny 76. In Albany.
The main reason I do like this radio is because, fuck you, you cannot tell me, that battery's gonna die, I'll shut this off for now. The main reason I do like this radio is because, fuck you, I don't care what you say, this is like the coolest looking handheld I've ever seen. Orange and black really actually goes together with this thing, for the Cobra brand too. The button layout is pretty cool. It's got a nice tricolor LED. It also has a flashlight on the bottom here, and I think it's really cool. It did not come with the rechargeable batteries, unfortunately, but it came with the cradle and the cord, so I could power this thing via dock if I wanted to. My only downside with this radio is that it is very loud when it goes off. It's just loud beeps for the sound of this radio. And for whatever reason, you can't actually, like, the weather snooze doesn't, like, turn the broadcast off but keep the radio on. If you want to keep the radio on but not hear the broadcast, you got to turn the volume down all the way. It'll still go off, and the siren will still sound, but you can't, like, just have it on, like, a standby mode. It's the weirdest fucking thing with this radio. Cobra, I think, made this radio for, like, a year or two in 2015, 2016, and then just stopped, and they disappeared off the face of the planet. And they only come up now through eBay listings, so I don't know what that's all about, but whatever. Also, the other main functionality gimmick with this thing is that you can put it in tornado mode, meaning the radio will still go off for alerts, but will not sound its siren for anything other than high priority, meaning tornado warning, storm surge warning, extreme wind warning. I think that's high priority. And then stuff like civil emergency message, emergency action notification, if God forbid that were to ever come over no weather radio. But yeah, it's actually a really nice looking radio. I like this thing. So yeah. Okay, oh my goodness. Moving on, I think this is on par with, these two I think are on par with each other in terms of the holiest of grails in my collection. Right here, which I got in December or November of just last year, I've had it a couple months now, is, I cannot believe I'm able to say this in a collection video, the First Alert SFA 1150.
1 foot. Sunny. Hazy this afternoon.
My goodness, I wanted to get my hands on this radio for the longest time, and I'm so glad I finally did. What the hell did I just do?
74.
That's what I'm trying to do. This radio, I am still so fucking pissed at myself. This was going to be the third radio I ever bought. In 2015, these were still being sold on Amazon. But, you want to know what fucking radio I chose to get instead? That is now, today, a worthless piece of shit. Where is it? Where the hell is it? Right here. I chose this worthless piece of junk over what is now probably the rarest weather radio out there. So that is the worst decision I've ever made. This guy, First Alert. This is the Spectra manufactured First Alert radio, as you can see. Easy menu functionality, easy setup and stuff. The main gimmick with this radio is the big alert ring around the radio, in addition to the warning, watch, and advisory buttons. This radio disappeared off the face of the planet when Amazon stopped selling them and when Spectra and First Alert stopped making this radio. There have only been, since that fateful day in like 2017, I think they stopped selling, there have only been, you can count them in one hand, how many eBay listings there have been of this radio, or Facebook Marketplace. I actually found this on Facebook Marketplace. The seller was in Indiana, and their listing said pickup only. But with a little bit of convincing through DMs, I was able to convince them to ship them out to me so long as I covered shipping costs. And I am so glad I did, because oh my god, I finally have this radio in my collection. This was my most desired rare radio to collect. I am so happy I have this thing. This thing's been working great so far. The only thing I do not like about this radio is that whenever an alert comes in and you have the radio in voice, the radio will sound the siren and it will turn on, but it will turn on at the highest possible volume. And I can't really say I like that. The only way that radio should do this is if it's in display mode and it goes off for a tornado warning, because that's what this radio does. If there is a tornado warning and the radio is in display mode, it still sounds the siren and turns on at the highest volume anyway. But that's the only time it should do that. Any other time, I wish it just didn't. But that's just a small price to pay to finally have this in my collection. If you are somehow at all able to find this radio, go ahead and do it. You have the rareness coming to you. And even though it's rare, it's still not worth all that much money. I would pay mainly like $40 for this at most, just because of how it is. But yeah, man, there you go. This SFA 1150, I just can't believe I'm finally saying I own one of these. Good lord, man. And only a handful of people in the EAS that do EAS have this thing. I think Thunderbird 01, Illinois Warren Tech, Mac County WX, I think. Yeah, not a lot of people have this thing at all, so there you go. And next up is the radio that is on par with being my holiest of grails in my collection. White, version 1, Midland WR100.
East. The ridge starts to break down midweek. That will allow for...
This radio is still in fantastic working order. This is the Midland WR100 is the most iconic weather radio there ever is and there ever will be. As we all know, there are 5 versions. This is, however, the version 1, the first version and the most rare and sought after version. I think white version 1s are actually even rarer than black and silver WR100s, so, but don't quote me on that. This radio, it's just a piece of Midland history. This is technically what started it all with the modern weather radios to come. And the version 1s from 2003 are the hardest to come by. Menu comparisons to all 100s to come after the version 2. There is no ability to change the backlight settings or perform an alert test. There are only the 5 functions there. And yeah, statement light, no public alert logo, dim backlight. I got this radio in February of 2023 in the weirdest way possible. It was said that a new and clamshell white version 1 was sold on eBay, but it wasn't sold. The seller just took down the listing because they forgot to mention that they had 5 completely brand new white version 1 Midland WR100s as old stock to be purchased. And myself and 4 other enthusiasts got said white version 1 WR100.
Partly cloudy.
And this is the only WR100 I have in service, and I am just so unbelievably grateful to have this radio. I absolutely love it. We all know WR100s, we all know version 1s, that's just, you can't get better than that. Definitely, probably one of my holiest of grails of the collection.
Sunny.
So yeah, that's that guy. We all know how WR100 works. Alright, right behind it here we have my version 16 Midland HH54 VP2, which I have to charge.
Southeast winds around 10 miles per hour in the evening, becoming light and variable.
Midland HH54 was the second weather radio I ever purchased way back in 2014. However, this, of course, like many other radios, is not the original one. The first one I had, also a bunch of just wear and tear on the back from 9 to 10 years of use. And I finally just went on eBay, bought myself a brand new one, and this thing is in near perfect condition still.
Temperature 74.
And I think I purchased this in like early 2022 or 2023. So yeah, we all know the version 16. We all, like I said, we all know HH54 VP2s. You know, there's no real anything. Functions the same as a WR100, except it's just a better quality. You can turn on and off the button beeps on the version 16s. Siren test, which I just did for you, and yeah, it's the staple handheld weather radio. Please get this radio if you can. It is just such a classic. It's very iconic, and you know, it's a fucking HH54. You know, go out and get this radio if you can, definitely. All right, next up, yet another holy grail we have here. This is the, I can't believe I'm also saying this, a completely working order, perfect quality Radio Shack 12-253. Of course, it's just in bad reception right now. I bought this radio in November of 2024, or October, I think, when I was at college. I got it delivered to my campus somehow, some way. That was still a big mistake of mine. I can't believe it made it to campus just fine, but I bought this on campus and brought it back home, and I can't believe I can say it's in perfect working condition. These things are known for having busty speakers and decoders, but the speaker on this is working just fine. And this activates just fine. I'm very, very happy to own this radio. It's pretty much Radio Shack's take on this guy here from Midland. However, this came out a little later, I believe. It is another statement error radio. Warning/emergency, which is unique to this radio. No other radio really says warning/emergency for its warning light. Functionality-wise, it's very similar, if not identical, to the functionality of a 254 and a 250 and a 251. Minus the fact that this radio also has AM/FM and an atomic clock, which is, I don't know where it went. It's wired into the radio, so it couldn't have gone far, but whatever. Don't know where it went, but whatever. Yeah, this thing is very rare and hard to come by. If you find it on eBay, get it. It is very nice to have as a collection item. I absolutely love this, and I'm very happy to have one. There you go. That's that guy. Next up is another classic. Everyone knows this guy, Midland WR200. This was Midland's first ever same weather radio. Back in 1999 this radio came out, and it shows. This radio just looks and feels like it's from the late 90s. Functionality wise, it's a little hard, but you use this keypad up here to program it. There is a program button up here that allows you to set the channel and the same code, and you do so by making sure you're on the correct screen. So here you do channel, this you'd set the time, which is obviously wrong, any alarms, and yeah. Pretty cool radio. I would definitely recommend this for collectors. They are actually pretty high quality for being a radio from the late 90s, but they still hold up pretty good today, I'd say.
Coming southeast around 10 miles an hour.
Got this radio in early 2022, maybe even late 2021, I want to say. It's been working great ever since. I don't know what version this is, though. I don't know if it's a version 8 or a version 6, but whatever. Doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, definitely get this radio. I would definitely recommend this radio as a collector radio. They're pretty cheap off eBay, too. They're still floating around out there. Alright. Couple more radios on top of that as well. Right here, which I do not currently have powered on, is the First Alert SFA 1135. This is pretty much the handheld version of this guy. Still rare, but slightly still rare, but not as rare as this guy. But I will say, I do not recommend this radio in the slightest. It is just a very flimsy piece of plastic. It's very awkward to hold. This is the most awkward looking handheld I've ever seen. It's like, I can actually hardly even fit it in my hand, as you can see here, and I have pretty big hands, contrary to what the camera may make it look like. And the functionality setting up this radio is also very weird. You'd think you'd use the tuning buttons for the menu when you get to there, but you use the side up and down volume buttons, and it's just a weird radio. The siren on this is a slightly different pitch compared to the 1150. It's a bit of a lower pitch, even though it's sounds the same for all sirens, pretty much. But yeah, I just wouldn't recommend this radio. And this is the weirdest belt clip. Like, look at this fucking belt clip. Like, what? This is just a weird radio. If you can find it, I would get it if you're, like, just a collector. But if you're just looking for a portable weather radio to buy, do not get this guy, because you're not really going to find it anyway. They're hard to come by. Because, of course, you know, Spectrum First Solar stopped making radios a long time ago. I just wouldn't recommend you getting it unless you're, like, a hardcore collector. But it sits up there. I got this in 2023. Actually, we're coming up on 2 years now. I got this in August of 2023, if I remember correctly. So that's that. Next up here is a radio that I absolutely love. This is my Radio Shack Pro 97 scanner.
Saturday, August 9th. This afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear. Look.
Absolutely love this radio. I primarily use it as a scanner, though, compared to weather radio. You know, I just monitor fire and police with towns in my district. I also monitor.
EAP. Yeah, W1 WAG. Yeah, Wayne, it's Herb. Usually I run that up there at Guineas 12 noon.
That's Skywarn, actually, so I can program Skywarn frequencies into this too, which I absolutely love. So, yeah, I mainly just use it as a scanner. I wanted a portable scanner. I don't really want like a desktop scanner, so this is perfect for me because it also doubles as the weather radio, and I just like the kind of older Radio Shack scanners too. This radio came out in the mid-2000s, and of course Radio Shack stopped making it before they went out of business, I think, but I actually really like it. So, yeah, and it also has a very unique set of weather radio channels as well. Yeah. So yeah, this is a very cool scanner. If you're looking for kind of like a vintage kind of analog scanner, I'd go ahead and get this. If you're looking for a handheld, it's actually a pretty decent quality. I will say though, the first time I did get a Pro 97, the radio completely bricked on me within 5 hours of unboxing. I don't know why, but I returned it and got my money back, and then got this guy, and it's been working great ever since. And I got this at the end of 2022. So yeah, I fucking love this radio so much. It is a favorite of mine. Alright, next up is a radio that I bought kind of just for memes, and I can't really say I recommend it to anyone. I also don't have this powered on. This is the Acurite 8550 portable radio. It's an Acurite. If you guys know Acurite, they're not really the best quality. Kind of hard to set up. However, this radio is very light and skinny, so it has that, has that going for it. However, reception is not the best, and the siren, if you want to call it for this radio, it doesn't have a siren, but if an alert comes in, just like my main gripe with that guy, the radio turns itself on, turns itself on automatically at the highest volume, and I don't like that. I bought this just for memes. This didn't even come new in box or anything. It came with just the radio. I didn't even get like the charging cradle for it or the weather station you can get for it. But yeah, I don't really power it on just because, you know, it's that. I kind of have it just to have it, just to say I have one. So that's that. I bought this in 2024, I want to say, sometime last year. Alright. Next up behind that, we have also another radio that isn't powered on. I gotta get my act together with that. Eton SolarLink FR370. I absolutely love this radio. I take it with me on vacation sometimes. I just took it up to York, Maine with me, as y'all saw. This radio has the unique thing behind it. It has 4 ways of powering itself. You can either use dynamo crank, you can use AAA batteries, you can use the solar panel, and it also counts as a phone charger too. There's a separate setting for that. Function the volume like this. The menu functionality is identical to the Eton Zone Guard, and you can put it in alert mode and AM/FM with the buttons up here. I absolutely love the portability of this radio. It's fun to just kind of hold it like this everywhere you go. This also is not the first SolarLink I got. The first SolarLink I got, SolarLink I got, the first one, was back in early 2016. However, I broke that by the most dangerous way possible. I overvolted this radio with a cord that had too much output power, and I kept it plugged in because I never even noticed until I started smelling something. It came from this thing. The screen was starting to burn up right here. The screen was burning in. The radio was extremely hot to the touch. I almost set my house on fire from overvolting a radio. Please don't fucking do that. Be careful. This is a Chevy AS PSA. Be fucking careful with your cords. So that radio immediately went in the trash. Well, not the trash. I let it fucking cool down, and then I disposed of it properly. And then I got this thing at the end of 2022 as a replacement because I wanted one again, and now I have it. So yeah. I do like this thing. I would recommend this to any collectors. It has a flashlight on the side here, and when it's powered on, it doubles as an SOS siren, but it's very loud, so don't scare the crap out of yourself with it like I've done. Yeah, pretty cool radio. I absolutely love this thing. But it sits behind there for now. Alright. I gotta get my act together with powering up my radios. This is not good. Alright, this other one right here is yet another holy grail of mine. This is a very hard radio to come by nowadays. The WeatherX WRB8817T. This is another pill weather radio, just from the looks of it. It kind of just looks like almost a spy radio, like you're listening to intel of sorts. This is a very unique weather radio that came out from this company, WeatherX, in like 2007, 2008, around that time frame. It has a very unique siren to it. It has actually very good reception. I'm very impressed with the quality of this radio. It is a bit heavy just to hold. I don't even have batteries in this. It is quite heavy to hold. It's like a pound or two compared to most other weather radios. These are the buttons up top here. It has AM, FM. It also has a flashlight and an SOS siren. It's a pretty nice radio. I bought this just before the summer of 2023. This actually came from Massachusetts, so this took literally a day to get to me once I bought it, so that was pretty cool. Only like 7 or 8 other people that do EAS that I know of at least have this radio. That's how hard it is to find. And if you happen to stumble across this radio, go ahead and get it. I actually recommend this radio. It's very nice. It is kind of loud though, so just be mindful of that. But it is a high quality build. The speaker is okay, and the reception is actually really good. I would recommend this radio. So I keep this up here, just because it's another rare one that I don't really touch as much. Just for like, you know, I don't know, whatever. Alright, next radio after that, I haven't really ever used, and I need to use more. This is the Radio Shack 12-254.
Sunny and 81. Fitchburg, sunny and 80. Worcester was 76.
I absolutely love this radio to death. It is basically a handheld version of the 250 or the 249 or the 253 minus AM FM. This is Radio Shack's first ever handheld weather radio. I got this, I want to say, in 2022, maybe 2023. Special thanks to my girlfriend for getting this to me as a Christmas present.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Love you, Eva. Yeah, it's actually a really nice vintage radio. You work it based on the switch over here. You can turn the siren on or off for alerts. And if you put it in program mode, you go ahead and open up this little keypad down here. And that's how you set it up. So yeah, this is a very neat piece of Radio Shack history, being their first handheld. I would definitely recommend this radio for collectors. I wouldn't get this if you're just looking for a radio to buy to have, but if you're a collector, definitely get your hands on this thing. I know this is pretty well loved in the community, and it's also nice and tight and compact too, and it just feels like a nice vintage radio, you know? So yeah, that sits right up there. Alright, next up with these two. These are not weather radios per se, but they are AM/FM, and I use them for AM/FM EAS. We'll start with this one here. This is the Rare Spark model SHD TX2. You know, everyone glazes the Spark because it's very high quality. This radio is very high quality. The speaker and the reception, the DX power, is incredible. However, this radio chews through batteries arguably worse than the 522, so that's why I don't really use it all that much, but I do like this radio. I fixed the issue I had with it earlier. yeah, you guys have seen me using this. I got this very recently. I got this at the start of the year. This is one of the first radios I bought for 2025, I want to say. And yeah, it works basically just like any other HD radio. Just tune into AM, FM, get your presets, and there you go. Very nice radio. I'm very happy with this. These are very, very hard to come by. The last eBay listing actually was me getting this. But I really like it. It's a pretty good radio. If you're looking for a rare AM/FM radio, but it may be pricey, get this thing. But if you don't care about rareness, but you still want a very good quality HD radio, this is the one for you. This is the Sangean HDR14. I absolutely love this thing. It is nice and tiny. It is nice and lightweight. It looks intimidating, but it is very easy to function. I have all my presets here for stations that I know relay alerts of some degree, or cover areas of some degree. You can have 20 presets, which is a big plus for me. And it is rather cheap. Well, it's not. It's like $40 to $50, I think, on Amazon. But if you want a very high quality HD radio, get this guy. I recommend this guy. Sangean HDR14, that is. I got this in 2023 for the sole purpose of AM/FM EAS activations. It's very conservative with battery life when the radio shut off. I've only had to replace the batteries in this radio like twice since I've gotten it. That's how good the battery life is. Very nice. I'm absolutely in love with this radio. Could not recommend it enough. Alright, moving on down to the bottom shelf here. I got some splaining to do with this one, even though I've splained it before. This is the Uniden Bearcat WX100.
Tonight, mostly clear. Lows around 60.
This radio is rather infamous with being rare and being very expensive on eBay because of price gougers. This radio is worth maybe $50 max, but on eBay, this radio sells for hundreds of dollars, if not even thousands. Yes, there are listings for this radio over $1,000, and it is not all that. It's a hunk of plastic.
Contact local fire officials before
when I got this radio, I just used gift cards. I got this sometime in 2023. Again, I got a lot of radios that year. It's not really all that. It's just not all that compared to what people make it out to be. It functions very nice and easy, but the main reason people like this radio is just because of the volume diode and the sirens to this radio, which I'll go ahead and test for you. Very loud. Come on. And last is the most iconic reason why people want this radio. But yeah, if you can find it for like less than $100, get this radio. But otherwise, don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. It's not all that. I really do like this radio. I really, really do. But it's just not all that compared to what people make it out to be.
Fitchburg, sunny.
But it is a nice piece of Uniden history. It is a statement era radio. It has an exclamation point next to the warning, which, you know, is kind of funky. But, yeah. I do really love this radio, but it just isn't all that it's meant to be. Only get it if you can get it for cheap. And I would only recommend this radio to collectors anyway. Alright. Next up, we have another rare. This is the Radio Shack 12-253.
For Connecticut, mostly sunny, 70-0. Providence, Rhode Island.
This radio is basically just a desktop, you know, regular cheaper desktop Radio Shack radio from the statement era. I got this also in 2023. This is a very, very nice radio. I did not get it new in box, so I did not get the CD-ROM software that comes with this radio that you can connect via a PC port on the side, but I think my computer is too modern for that anyway. This is a very nice radio. If you can get your hands on it, go for it, but it is kind of on the rarer side, so just note that. But I absolutely love this radio. I would highly recommend it. It's a very simple, nice radio to have. So yeah, that's that guy. Alright, next up we have the Radio Shack 12-521. This is the B model from 2012.
Today, patchy dense fog. Good morning. mostly.
This 2012 model means that this radio's tuner will not die. Any 12521 from years prior to 2012 will probably die on you. Their tuners are not good. However, this one, the tuners to these models are. I love this radio to death. Pardon the motorcycles going by.
In the upper 80s.
I got this also in 2023. This was meant to replace the 262 that I had a very long time ago as another one of my first weather radios. The tuner on that, though, never worked out. It never went off for alerts, never decoded anything. So, to fill that kind of void, I decided to get a 2012 521, and it's been working flawlessly ever since. So yeah, this is another staple modern Radio Shack radio that isn't made anymore. Go ahead and get your hands on this if you can, but make sure it's a 2012 model. So there's that. Next up, another holy grail. I cannot believe I have this radio either. This is the Motorola MWR839.
Highs in the mid-80s. Lows in the mid-60s. Here is the Recreate.
This radio is what came before the Sandrine CL100. As you can see, that's what it's meant to look like. Motorola came out with this radio before then, before they sold their patents to Sandrine, who rebranded this radio, made the shell black, made the buttons more square, but kept the firmware the same. When I first bought this radio, it was unfortunately also bricked out of the box. I actually have the box. It was brand new in box, too, which is what kills me. I have it right here. So I never uploaded the unboxing because it was bricked in the box, but it came literally, this was brand new in box when I got it. I got it earlier this year. But because Sandrine kept the internals pretty much the same, what I did is I sent this off to Weather Radio Guru down in North Carolina, special thanks to him, and he put the board of my Sandrine CL100 into the MWR839, and now this radio works just as intended. And I could not be more grateful for that. So thank you again, Mr. Weather Radio Guru. This radio is just more rarer because this is what came before the CL100, which is still being made. It's identical to a CL100 functionality wise. There's nothing different about it besides just the maker and the white shell and the gray buttons. Everything else menu wise and literally everything is exactly the same. So yeah, and the main reason I also wanted this too is not only for the rareness factor, but the buttons on my Sandrine were just starting to go. But of course, given this thing was brand new out of the box, I have no button issues on the MWR839. And I'm just very happy to have another rare radio in my possession. So there you guys go. Like I said, I got this earlier this year, one of the other few radios I bought in 2025. Alright, next up is a radio that I bought last year in 2024, but I don't really use as much as I should. This is the Eton FRX5BT. This is not a Sidekick. I don't know if they're the same, but whatever. This is one of Eton's more modern radios. I believe they're actually still producing this. I got this for $20 off of eBay, which was just a steal I could not pass up because the retail price for this radio, I believe, is $70 or $80. You use the buttons up here to work it, to put in alert mode and stuff. Power and another play button right there. This is volume. This is changing the channel. This radio works flawlessly. And you can also power it via USB and other shit like that. But yeah, I don't really use it as much as I should, but like I said, I bought it because I could not pass up a deal of $20 for this compared to the retail $70 to $80. So that's that guy. Got that last year. And next up, you guys have seen this countless of times just because of the power of DXing on this radio, which is the reason why I bought it. This is the ZWiz ZWS787.
Fun, sunny, and 81. Elsewhere in New England.
This is the main radio I use to DX. This radio is one of the only radios in my room that can receive KZZ41 on good days. Like I said, you all have seen this so many times on the channel here. This is the third one I've had in less than a year, which I'm not happy about. The first one I got at the beginning of 2024, when I got it and opened up the box, half of the diodes on the screen were missing. Like half of these, all missing. So I had to toss that away. And then the second one I bought, the speaker decided to blow on me. And both of those were the military style one, and then I decided to buy this funny looking multicolored circus looking model of the same radio, and it's been working flawlessly. I don't really have anything else to say about it other than you can use FM, AM, weather radio, shortwave, and Bluetooth for this thing. And it is a very nice handheld to have. The power of DXing on this thing is insane. If you want a good small DXing radio, get this guy. Okay, cool. Now, before we move on, I gotta go ahead and charge the camera because this battery is dog shit, so I will be right back. Alright, I got a little bit of charge, so I'll get through what I can. But that's left off on that one. Next up is a radio I got at the beginning of 2023 after I got it in 2022 and needed to send it to Weather Radio Guru to get the speaker repaired, ironically. We have the Midland WR300. It is not turned on right now, though. This radio it looks similar to the counterpart, the 74210, however the WR30s are slightly rarer. The tuners do not die with this radio, and there's ever so slight differences in the menu, but otherwise the 74210 and the WR30 function the same. This is an okay radio. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I only got it just because of that rare factor. Paid about $30 for it. It's an okay weather radio for what it's worth, but I can't really say I'd recommend this for really anybody. It's just not all that much. It's a neat piece of Midland history to see what direction they were going for. This has the same siren as all the Recon weather radios, but yeah, there's nothing really much to it. It's just sits here and stuff. And right up here we have this Uniden BCT15X scanner, which I still do not have in service at all. It just sits up here. I want to get rid of this thing somehow, but it's nice to just kind of have on display, if you will. This was the first scanner I ever got, but I just don't use it. It just sits up here. It works perfectly fine though, so that's pretty cool. And I just saved a Hot Wheels thing from falling over. It's fucking Yoshi, look at him. Oh, and it just fell over either way. Whatever. Get up off the floor, you. There we go. Okay, so that's that guy. Next up here we have a weather radio I definitely regret buying. This is the Midland ER50. I bought this in the middle of a severe weather event in 2022 at a Walmart, and then lo and behold, after I bought it, no other alerts were issued that day. So I kind of just bought this on a whim for no reason, and didn't even get use out of it. I don't really like the ER radios. Like I said, I don't know why I got this, but yeah. Can't really say I recommend the ER radios at all. Unless it's the ER310, which I want to get my hands on at some point. So there's that. Next, I'll quickly cover out of service before the camera dies again. We can get this video out of the way, huh? We'll come up here. This first one here is the Recon R1630. This is a C model. I got this at the end of... Holy dust. Oh my goodness. You can just see how long it's been. But yes, I got this at the end of 2017. It works just fine. And then in 2023 I decided to get a 1650, hoping it was a 1650D, but this is a C model, so it has some issues with it, such as this radio being unable to properly read 6-hour events. These two are now out of service because of the R500, but they still work perfectly fine. Then I have this piece of shit Eton FRX1 LLB in red. I don't even know why I have this. I don't even know when I got it. It's a piece of shit. That's all I know. Stays up here. And next up here we have a late version 2 Midland WR100. The reason why this is out of service is because of the version 1. Still works just fine, but I'm going to keep hanging on to it just in case, God forbid, something happens with the V1. I think there's also something loose inside, however, but it still works just fine. Got this in 2022 from Weather Radio Guru. Bought it off him. Next up we have a HH50. I don't know why I have this. I don't like the HH50. Holy, you can just see all the dust. That's how long it's been since I've touched these. Got that in 2017, I want to say. Same thing with this. This is the Lacrosse S83301. I don't like this radio. It's a piece of shit. Don't buy it. Still works though. And up here, I took this out of service just to make room for other things. This is the Max Digital CR01NW. Still works just fine. It has a pretty cool siren to it. I'd recommend this radio for collector's sake. It actually has a really nice speaker to it, and the reception is pretty good, but I just chose to take it out of service for the time being. Got this in 2022 also, so that's cool. And next up here, yes, I do own one, just like any other enthusiast. Midland WR120, I believe this is finally one that has the new event codes. I just took it out of service because I don't really use 120s when I have other rare radios to show off. We all know the 120. The 120 was the first weather radio I ever got back in 2014, but this, of course, is not the original 120 at all, so yeah, there's that. It sits up here. Next, we got this broken Vector VEC438. The actual radio works fine, but the charger doesn't work, and I don't bother with putting AAA batteries in this thing. I got this in 2022. It's a piece of shit. Don't get it. It's not good. And then we have one of the broken 522s that I have. This was one of the ones, like I said, where I tried getting a 522 and it just did not work. That sticker's coming off in the back too. So yeah, I don't know why I still have this, but I keep it up here. And we have the WR10 I was talking about, which I got in 2015. It's a piece of shit. Don't buy this, but it's nice. Its kind of gimmick is that it looks like the M in Midland's logo, but it's a 1050 hertz 90s radio. Don't get it. Not worth it. And then we have my AlertWorks EAR10 up here, which I also took out of service just to fit in more rare radios, but that's okay. It still works just fine. It's a classic weather radio. I actually really like the EAR10. Go ahead and get it if you can. And last but not least, back here is the Emerson Research WBS12, which is brand new to Walmart. 1050 hertz in the age of same. What the fuck are we doing? Not a good radio. Had it in service for a couple months and just took it out because I was never going to use it. And that is going to conclude my official updated weather radio collection as of August 9th, 2025. I don't know if I'm going to be getting more radios, but yeah. That is really much it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and stuff. Be on the lookout for more EAS videos in the future soon. College is coming up though, so videos may go down at the end of August, but hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully I can still record as many EASs as I can on campus. And with that said, I will talk to you guys in the next video.